And welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship here, live being broadcasted from the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios in Stockholm, Sweden. It is my pleasure to welcome you back because we are just getting started pretty much, because let's be honest, we still have more guns to shoot at you, especially mYinsanity and Galeforce Esports from the Western regions. They are trying to redeem themselves and sort of make a name for themselves in this global tournament. Jayhao, I actually heard that it's the first time you being in Europe. How are you enjoying it so far?
First time outside of America, Sweden.
Damn,
it's so weird to get used to the time. The sun sets at like midnight, but so far it's been amazing.
All right, and we're being joined here by the lovely Gillyweed for the first time actually on the analysis desk here, so good to have you here. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I got to cast a match versus Negative Synergy versus X Team, and that was a lot of fun. And teams have been studying both of them, but especially X Team having casted the Gold League, and now I'm really excited to be up here too and try out the analysis desk.
All right, and Dread, man, you're the most experienced dude here, I think. You've been watching them all, knowing them all, so how are you doing? Still everything hanging good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to see mYinsanity play.
Right, mYinsanity, so am I, because the German power team, I mean, they played so well during DreamHack France in tours, and they didn't drop a single map. I think in this tournament they probably can keep up the pace here, but definitely one of the teams to look out because they are just such a wonderful team to behold. Good strategies overall. But without further ado, I think we can actually take a look at the road to summer that we've got going on, because all the regions are involved. That's of course the beauty of this tournament. We having people from North America, from China, Korea, Europe. You mentioned it, but also some of the minor regions, each sending one team to represent them. Definitely cool stuff here. And you know, the Spring Championship has been kind of one-sided with Asian teams dominating, and so far this trend seems to continue, Jayhao. Do you think we're going to see a deja vu, so to speak, from the Spring Championship, or do we see strong Western teams reuniting themselves and gathering here?
Despite the fact that we're in the group stage, I honestly feel like, and I think this is a sentiment that we've probably talked about before coming here, is mYinsanity has looked so good over the last month and a half. If there's going to be a team that challenges it, this seems to be the consensus as far as the team. And they're up next. It's going to be our first look at them.
Yeah, I think mYinsanity, they're an easy team to root for solely because they're so hardworking, and I think a lot of us have been seeing that if there's a Western hope, it'll be them.
Right, and that's actually a cool thing to say, because who would have thought a couple of weeks and months ago that mYinsanity would be the stellar shining light here for the European scene in general. Let's actually take a look at the Group B. That's of course the group that we're going to be focusing on right now. mYinsanity, as we mentioned, the powerhouse from Germany. Then also the big gods making their appearance here from the South American region, and PBA, aka Please Buff Arthas, considered to be the really secret weapon from the minor regions. They are really strong, they look good, they are experienced, and of course they come and hail from Taiwan. And Galeforce Esports, a lot of people would have expected Cloud9 or any other North American team, but not likely Galeforce Esports. Is there a story behind them? What is their drive for this good performance?
I feel like a lot of it's going to come down to just they're very worried about their atmosphere. That's probably one of their highest priority when it comes to the team. They kind of develop themselves more of like, we're going to be good friends and get along heavily before we worry about being the best team that we possibly can. And I feel like that's something that's really attributed to their success.
I think that one of the bigger things about them is that I think on the global stage, a lot of people won't recognize them. But if you're from the NA, the North American scene, you probably know a lot of them from Heroes of the Dorm.
Yes,
they have experience.
Yeah, I like to call them an NA dream team, really. Although they come from several mid-tier teams, but they're all like the playmakers from those teams coming together. And like Jayhao said, 4 out of the 5 of them played in Heroes of the Dorm. 2 of them won it. So they have a lot of experience, and especially a lot of members have experience when it comes to LAN environments too.
Yeah, it's really a story of they start at the bottom and now they climb their way all the way to the top. Michael Udall, now a shining figure in the North American scene and once considered to be like a mid-tier player at best, but they are going to have to face their opponents here on the global stage and see if they can keep up their trend. For now though, let's focus a little bit more on mYinsanity against Please Buff Arthas, because that's going to be the immediate next best of 3 that is going to come up. We see them here, mYinsanity looking strong as always, and they are known to be a team that excels in offline environments.
The thing I love about mYinsanity is that they take the meta and they say, we don't care. We're going to play our own, and this is what works for us. And they actually have a very specific thing, and I think we'll get into that more during the draft, but what we see out of mYinsanity is probably different than pretty much every other team that we see here at the championship.
I think now that they're at the global stage, it will become a little bit more unified. I think you can definitely expect that the mYinsanity style to be very expressed when it comes to the early matches, largely because I don't think they need to make the adjustments, and it's in their best interest to not kind of adapt to what they think is most optimal. But you're right, it is a very interesting approach to the game.
Dred, can you describe mYinsanity's playstyle in a few words? Like, what is typical for them?
I'm going to say it's kind of like just a poke, like long drawn out team fight style. And definitely objective-oriented.
Right. And of course, they do have a vast flexibility in terms of hero picks. They are really hard to predict at points because they always pull out something that the opponents don't expect them to. For example, the Lunara, they were the first, or among the first teams to actually pull it out, Gilly.
Probably one of the things that has most impressed me, well, first of all, is that eyebrow raise from Darkrock, but also is not only their improvement that mYinsanity has shown, but also their flexibility. This team is very flexible. I've seen several members play the same hero, which gives them the ability to adapt to any composition that they need. So they can pull out compositions that they truly believe is going to be the best in that situation versus being limited to something like hero pulls, which you see from so many other teams in the world.
Yeah, and anything that stands out in terms of, heroes that we might see from their opponents in this match from Please Buff Arthas, JL?
I think just, again, if we're talking about mYinsanity, the amount of diversity that they're going to have is going to match up. And I know Please Buff Arthas, there's a lot less known about them. Gilly, I know you've had an opportunity to kind of watch some of the VODs, and you might have a little bit of notes, but to the untrained or the unknown people that are out there, what are we looking at from Please Buff Arthas?
So a lot of things, again, kind of like with some of the earlier teams that we've seen, is they have a high priority on Greymane. They also really like to play Thrall, or Murden and ETC, and some Thrall too. And they've been prioritizing a lot on Rhaegar. The thing about this team is that they have some comfort picks for sure. Falstad's been counterbanned or counterpicked from them before, and same with ETC. But when I look at the 4 teams from minor regions, I see the most possibility for an upset specifically from Please Buff Arthas. They have a lot of synergy. They can make very quick decisions to widen their leads, which is something that a lot of more amateur-focused teams struggle with. So I think that they have a good possibility, at least, of maybe getting an upset in this group.
Yeah, for me, that the decision-making that you brought up is without a doubt their biggest selling point. I do agree that the comfort picks could be a problem, but for the most part, it's when they commit, they all commit. There is very little hesitation, which is a very common problem that you see from all mid-level teams and even some of the lower regions overall. It just, what happens is essentially they half commit and then somebody gets picked off here and there. I mean, when they go in, they go hard.
Right, and there's a saying like, following a bad call altogether is better than just doing your own thing and potentially doing a good call. So I like the point you brought up there, Dred. Definitely, we can now take a look into the draft, into the map veto phase here. And I heard that we're going to see an old familiar battleground here. Once again, it is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. And we can pretty much repeat what we've been saying earlier, that this map in particular is the smallest one in the map pool. It's all about working as a team, moving around together, and not so much about, split soaking.
I think Dred was talking about mYinsanity. They're a little bit more objective-based, a little bit more poke-based, and that sometimes lends to the favor. I don't think we're going to see something like we saw last set with X-Team, the Abathur pick on Battlefield of Eternity. I don't think I've ever seen anybody run that besides them when we've looked at it historically. But the fact that they do tend to lend towards that poke, do you think that kind of plays into this map in particular?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge comfort area for them, largely because we've seen them pull out things like the Lunara, like Zagara. Both of them thrive in that situation. It's one of the few maps where the kind of triple backline strategy is very appealing. And guess what? They like a lot of heroes that complement it.
Yeah, and Lunara, you mentioned it. I mean, she's so good when it comes to damaging Immortals with her Nature's Calling. I mean, many teams just seem to underestimate the value and the power of Lunara, especially in the hands of mYinsanity. And what they also like to do every now and then, in the beginning of a tournament, they don't like to show their cards upright. So do you think we can expect something out of the ordinary from mYinsanity when it comes to drafting?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I think you can.
Yeah.
There's no reason, unless they see any kind of threat from their opponent, which I don't feel like they're in that situation, for them to make those adjustments.
Right.
Now, this is something we talked about before the last set on Battlefield of Eternity. Obviously, we're looking at 2 different regions. Oh. They were hovering Tyrande, which means, again, she does tend to hold priority. But Greymane, guys, do you think outside of Illidan, Greymane will be the most highly contested hero?
So I think
Yeah.
with a lot of the teams, yes, definitely, for sure. He provides a lot of poke, and then of course the kill potential for a hero. But the thing is too, is they've done their homework. They know that Please Buff Arthas highly prioritized Greymane, and a lot of the teams that I saw from minor regions, like Big Gods and Please Buff Arthas, all really like to play that Greymane.
Yeah, and it's funny to see though, because I remember a couple of months ago when Greymane received his rework, if you will, and his cocktail build was really nerfed. A lot of people said you cannot use this hero in his current form, but now not a lot of changes have been made, and suddenly he's all over it again. What was the reason, Dread? Can you explain how this change of mind has happened?
For who directly? Sorry, I was worried about
For
the next bit
Greymane.
here.
Why is he so good now,
okay.
although he was considered to be bad?
He was never considered bad. It was a knee-jerk reaction to a nerf, which everybody thought that because there was one playstyle with him.
Right.
Specifically, Europe loved that playstyle, right? Like with the poke-oriented build, and then you get the execution on the backline. That's not the only thing. He's not a one-trick pony. You didn't need the poke. There's a lot of other things that he excels at very much, and it took teams a while to understand that it's like, what if we just didn't worry about only poking with him and we just commit with the Worgen form? And that's what a lot of teams are doing now and why he's so great. But Falstad for PBA, so they are getting what they want a little bit here.
Yeah, Falstad, of course, a hero that is always good on those maps where it's all about, you know, prolonged team fights. You can also just gust people away from the Immortal, securing yourself the last few seconds of actually taking it down sooner than your opponents. And Thrall, once again, JL, what do you make of this?
I mean, it's just a very strong early game draft. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Thrall or Falstad in any form or fashion. I mean, you're going to get good value out of Thrall. You're going to get good value out of Falstad. It's kind of the playmakers that you tend to get more out of as we look at somebody like Tyrande, who could possibly turn that. We talked about objective-oriented. If you're looking to get that objective on this map, Dread, that is Tyrande, and that is where she excels.
Yeah, Tyrande definitely can thrive with the Hunter's Mark to try and influence the Immortal. And it's one of the few maps that she actually is pretty good at, especially post-stun nerf, kind of what came into play during that last patch, because the wave clear is not nearly as necessary on this map as some of the other ones. I feel
What
like
do you
this
think
is
about Starfall, though, in this map?
Starfall, I mean, it's a decent zoning tool, definitely, and with a large amount of poke that you can try and get, and then the zoning that you can get out of it, it can gain a lot of value. I'm surprised mYinsanity decided to go this route. I feel like with their comfort picks that they have, like the Lunara and Zag, that they... I guess I didn't expect them to move into the Murden Tyrande style play that's very common.
Is there a risk for mYinsanity that PBA might actually pick away some of their trademark heroes, Gilly, like Lunara?
I have not ever seen PBA pick Lunara, so I don't really think so, and I think maybe mYinsanity realize that and know that they can play safe. Also, what they've picked so far, it hides a lot, but still gaining a lot for the Battleground. When you look at Battlefield of Eternity, you really think of Tyrande, Sylvanas, and then melee assassins. But Sylvanas is still up and available. Kael'thas is going to be banned away, so that's one thing to try to take away from mYinsanity. They have very good win rates on Kael'thas specifically. They're really good with that hero.
Is anybody else surprised that last time we saw Battlefield of Eternity, we didn't see Li Ming at all? And the amount of poke potential she gets out of this, are we surprised she's making it this late into the draft on both sides here?
I'm not surprised that she's making this far into the draft. Going completely through the draft, I don't think it's that weird, but I guess it's not that common either, right?
With
Especially
Kael'thas off the board, though. I
yeah,
mean,
with Kael'thas off the board, it makes her more appealing in the poke style play. At the same time, for mYinsanity, right now they can be going down that route, but again, their play style just complements the map overall. And Please Buff Arthas could decide to go with it.
And they take the Kharazim. Actually, Splendor is the one who's very well known for landing those God tier palms, but of course, with two supports already being chosen for mYinsanity, this is no longer an option. Do you guys think that we're once again going to see Seven-Sided Strike, or is it time for Divine Palm here?
I think it's a little early to tell, maybe.
Right.
I think we need to wait for mYinsanity to kind of play out for the draft here. Again, they've already got Falstad, they've got Thrall, they have to secure a front line. I mean, obviously, ETC already off the board, Murden there. We've seen Material a lot today.
Yeah, there's Tyrael again. And you know what? That's exactly what happened at Spring, the Spring Global Championship. It was like nobody was playing Tyrael. We get to the global stage. All of a sudden, everyone plays Tyrael. And that's exactly what's happening here. And I, for one, don't mind it one bit. And you talked about Li Ming. PBA's Li Ming player is the one left most likely. I haven't seen him play Falstad, so that is still a potential for them.
Loving
Also,
that pillow, by the way.
Sylvanas. Could be
Absolutely
one.
beautiful.
Oh, there they are.
I'm sort of, he's relaxed.
Yeah, man.
There's no way you can sit more comfortably in a chair better equipped than that. All right, so it's time for the last picks here. mYinsanity, of course, still has 2 more slots to pick, and they are lacking a little bit of damage here, so I think Assassins and Specialists definitely on the priority list here. Li Ming, all right, there we go. We sort of waited for her to be picked.
And then Lunara.
Yep.
Not surprised by that one.
It's like the standard go-to mYinsanity
But
comp, isn't it?
is this an opportunity for PBA? That's a heavy back line.
Yes.
You have Lunara, Li Ming,
Right.
Tyrande all on that back line, and you already have Tyrael who can dive. You have Karazim who
Thrall.
can go. You have Thrall who can initiate. Is this an opportunity for PBA to turn the draft in their favor with somebody like a Sonya or somebody to dive in?
What about a new Barak? I actually find a new Barak in this situation very appealing with
Well,
the dive-oriented
okay,
composition.
Composite arrows.
They're having none of it, though. They go for Vala.
Multi-shot will reach now.
That's interesting they decided to go with the Vala in that situation. I feel like their poke is never going to match Li Ming Lunara, ever. And obviously, with the map, it complements that style of poke. So they had an aggressive, engaging style composition, and then rounding it out with the Vala. I guess I just find it like an interesting draft choice. She is going to be okay with like a mana core to be able to get single target damage when it comes to the Immortal itself. But again, I feel like when you look at their comp overall, it's kind of counterintuitive to the rest of it.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing from that is partially that they want somebody who can put some sustaining damage on the Immortal, but also part of that could be just potentially a hero pool thing too. Like they may not have that number of players who can play those melee roles, especially since it was a ranged player who had who was left to get a hero. So the Vala will still be able to help them, but I don't know about trying to race the Immortal, especially once there's Nature's Culling.
Nature's Culling, Hunter's Mark.
Hunter's
Yeah.
Mark.
Oh, yeah,
Li
yeah,
Ming
yeah.
with Seeker and Mirror Ball,
Yeah.
like it's just like that race is not one I want to take.
And then
ever.
again, as you mentioned, Dred, Vala is not a playmaker, like an initiator, right?
Yeah.
She does have the Rain of Vengeance potentially to lock people down, but I feel like this was some sort of pick that resulted out of not knowing what to do.
I would agree a bit.
I just feel there's so much on the table outside of Vala. I
Yeah.
mean, they just had a whole lot that they could have gone into. It just maybe it doesn't fit their playstyle.
I think that has to be it, really,
Yeah.
when it comes to that pickup here. They do have, I mean, when you look at the composition, it's great at counter-engaging. That is something that it excels at, but it's not like when I look at mYinsanity's composition, I don't think, guess what they want to do? Initiate. It's going to be sitting back, poking, waiting for the right time to hit a Lunar Flare.
Dred, can you provide us with your quick resume? Like, who do you think is going to win Game 1 here between those teams?
I think it's very convincing, not only for skill, but just drafted for mYinsanity now.
Right, Gilly.
I have to agree, mYinsanity.
I think without a shadow of a doubt, that last pick could have secured it. I got to go with mYinsanity here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in favor of mYinsanity here. Not only do they have a solo draft, but they also have comfort picks. They play on the map that they know very well. So I'm also going to go with mYinsanity here. So a quick decision here from everybody going in the favor of the German team. And let's actually see what our casters have to say about this upcoming Game 1 between mYinsanity and, of course, PBA. So Kalars and Todd, it is your time to shine.
We live in the same building, and we live in the same city. We work in the same building, and we haven't cast together for months, Todd. And here we are. Welcome back, my friend.
Well, not heroes, at least.
No, oh, okay, so maybe some StarCraft here and there. But there you go. We are back together, and it's time to get into it. mYinsanity going up against Please Buff Arthas. mYinsanity have quite the strong draft here. Very, very comforting for them here going into this. But let's get into it as we go to introductions. mYinsanity to the left-hand side with Darkmock on Lunara. Nurok will be playing Tyrande, Splendor on Rhaegar, Blumby on Mirrodin, and Hasuobs on Li Ming. And then to the right-hand side, as our red team, it is Please Buff Arthas with Zola on Karazim, God Dog, we're very familiar with him, on Falstad. Baphomet will be playing Thrall, Scroll on Tyrael, and finally Alpha will be playing Valor.
I love how you say his name. Can tell you're a fan.
God Dog.
You know, as much as I like to disagree with everybody, I'm really feeling mYinsanity here. Has got some great draft, and he's going to have a good opportunity here to do well. We'll see, though.
Got to agree with you. But already we're seeing Please Buff Arthas going for the Siphoning Arrow on Valor at level 1, which is something that kind of is more akin to what is normally seen over down towards that China, Southeast Asia region here from them going into a Hungering Arrow build. So I'm not surprised by that. It's a comfort pick for them. But whether or not it's going to work out or not, we'll see.
And yeah, Lunara here did go for Cruel Spores. Waited for quite a bit before finally going for it. Way to have set up that Wisp in the middle of the map as well.
Yeah, not the most common level 1 talent for her actually there. So that's interesting to see this little bit of deviation from Dartmock, as that will now allow him to use spores, crippling spores on mercenaries a little bit quicker each time. Their cooldown's reduced by 80%. So the wave clear here for Dartmock is going to be very strong moving into the late stages of the game as well.
And I guess that's also why he's going to be more comfortable solo here at the top right now against Baphomet on the Thrall.
Yeah.
Splendor, very interestingly, by the way, staying in that bush towards the top.
That's a really good point that you actually just brought up, the fact that they've separated Lunar off solo and that talent. Because if you look at their lineup, they actually don't really have a good solo laner at all. So that kind of little compromise there to go up against the Thrall is really cool.
Could be okay, but it's still, you know, if somebody does a rotation and you missed it, maybe you could die.
Yeah, you'd still lose out in the end. Not the best of positions, but so that is a cool little change-up that we're seeing from them. To go up against it, but it's accommodating to the map, which is the most important thing, and what they mentioned on the analysis desk as well, because as we get towards these Immortals, later down the line, it will be getting very, very strong for mYinsanity. As they will challenge and defend this first Immortal themselves. And
everybody's in the middle of the map, by the way, right now. I think we're going to have a big brawl there.
Yeah, and they already get up to full steady. Bursts down so fast. mYinsanity on towards Scroll as well. That's a 2-for-0 trade already in favor of mYinsanity, and that was clean as a whistle. That was so quick.
Didn't even see it coming, man.
No.
Fasta definitely didn't, as he completely blew up. Feathers went all across the place.
Yeah. That was one unhappy chicken, let's put it that way. And the thing is that they've got the lockdown potential as well. If Muradin's going to go forward to get the Stormbolt in, very easy to follow up things with that Lunar Flare, and then they're doing so much damage to this Immortal, it's not going to be rivaled too easily by PBA here.
What do you think about Tyrande Owl builds coming back in fashion very strongly? We don't see the utility build nearly as much nowadays.
Yeah, the Owl build, it sticks around for a long time. It's especially good on maps where you're able to get those interrupts, and that being said, a little bit of a chain stun, maybe gone towards Thrall.
Yeah, I mean, this is just not worth it right now for Please Buff Arthas, by the way, to just wait there. Eventually, that Immortal will go down. Like, I don't see Vala on the other side trying to take it out by herself.
Yeah.
The other Immortal finally working.
And trying to leap forwards, but that will be the Immortal in favor of mYinsanity. And even a kill on towards Tyrael as well. Goes a little too far forwards. They're trying to get Thrall. Rehgar was the one in hot pursuit of all people. And they're going to continue this. Oh, no, that's a lot of burst on from Li Ming on towards Thrall. And a third kill. mYinsanity, oh my god, what a start to this game.
They're just wrecking them completely here.
Already
5 takedowns to 0 and 1 whole level.
That was pretty brutal. I actually want to come back to the Owl build that you were mentioning before, because sometimes you actually see the decreased cooldown on Hunter's Mark for Tyrande at level 1, but with the Owl build here, it shows how confident they are in the race, because they don't even need the Hunter's Mark reduction talent at level 1 with the Lunara that they've got there, and the new usual Hunter's Mark anyway, and Li Ming. It's so strong. Oh, and another lockdown. Because Vala gets absolutely bursted. mYinsanity. Once they set their sights on one target, PBA do not have a leg to stand on. That is so strong.
How about that 4-minute force, guys? It's already done.
Yeah.
That's 2 levels lead.
I'm really
mYinsanity.
I'm really scared for PBA. And not only in this game, but this whole series right now, looking at this start, this is scary.
If there were a few viewers that listened to the predictions and they were like, oh, these guys are being really harsh on Please Buff Arthas, why is everybody cheering on mYinsanity? Well, you answer, man. They were the favorite, and so far they're really delivering here in map number 1.
Yeah, they've even gone for a little bit of increased longevity as well. Level 4 healing with Totem for Rehgar means that they can stick around in that center location, put that behind quite a good space, and make sure that they're going to be healed up quite nicely.
Nature's Calling was picked here on level 7 for the
most
Lunara.
important.
And Lunar Blaze on the Tyrande. So we're going to have a little bit of extra range. Maybe she can stay a little bit further back.
They might steal this. They might steal this easy camp as well. PBA were trying to get
it up.
Yeah, Blumby might have to jump away from there. They might have to give this up. It's not gone the best way for them at all. Splendor, maybe the lockdown on towards Baphomet. No, he will get away. So they grab themselves that easy camp to PBA.
Both teams actually doing a fantastic...
Oh! Hasu Orbs coming in with the flank after the Owl was able to catch. And that is just the follow-up from those missiles as well.
What an explosive game we're seeing here. Both teams were doing such a good job at first of peeling off of each other, peeling some damage and all staying alive. But eventually everybody got there, and being one talent up here, mYinsanity takes another big win in this fight with Li Ming coming in to reinforce and doing some more damage.
That was kind of scary. Unfortunately here for PBA, they're not having the best of times. They're going to have to come back via this. Almost a 2-level lead in
level
favor
7.
of mYinsanity.
Finally.
Yeah, what are they going to take? Anything out of the ordinary?
Cleanse on the Karazim.
Yeah, still just full kind of normality here at the moment with Valor continuing on with that Hungering Arrow build, with the repeating arrow.
It feels like PBA doesn't even know what to do right now. They're kind of hanging around their Immortal, waiting for maybe mYinsanity to overextend, but they're just way too good to let that happen.
They are
grabbing the camp, though.
Yeah, taking advantage of the positioning of this Immortal is quite nice by them.
And Liming stayed at the bottom to soak, so that's going to be the experience here. Lead extending even further for mYinsanity. They're doing really, like, their execution so far in this game has been flawless.
Still some good poke coming in from Liming on towards this Immortal, despite them protecting it with 2 members. Now we'll fly on through and get the vision. But look at this.
These owls are crazy good, by the way.
Yeah, PBA have split off now to try and get themselves soak because they know they need to catch up because 10's about to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they might have to give up the Immortal, but did they just try to go for an engagement?
They're going to fight before 10. They're going to try and get on towards Nurok. He's very, very low. That's Chain Lightning on towards him. Thrall's trying to get there desperately. Blocked out by Rehgar, as well as Blumby jumping to make sure that they can't get on towards him, and Nurok will get away.
Wow, this is so smart of mYinsanity to pull back no matter what. I feel like even if they had lost the Rehgar here or one hero, they needed to buy a little bit of time, you know, regroup, maybe hit the fountain, and they're back in it, man.
That was
Level
their
10
window.
is there now.
Yeah, that had to be their window. They had to get kills, at least 1 or 2, to try and then stabilize on their Immortal, but that's not going to be the case.
They don't have enough lockdown to make that happen, and mYinsanity would have to actually take a fight, so pulling back, great choice, and now it's going to be level 10 against not even 9 just yet for PBA.
Yeah, tough stuff. And will be a Disintegration Beam with Avatar, Ancestral Healing. We have also the Starfall, not Starfall in fact I should say, Shadowstalk coming out, as well as Thornwood Vine here for Lunara. So mega poke potential. Blumby repositioning himself to jump over the wall if he gets an opportunity onto someone. And this could be kind of scary for them. He's going to go over. They're looking to blow up once again. That Lunar Flare was able to hit 2 of them, actually. Alpha as well as Zola do get away. Lunara was looking to flank down towards the bottom. mYinsanity is setting up some cool fights.
He landed a Thornwood Vine, I think, on Karazim here before chasing them back, but that Immortal is so healthy as well. Still got a little bit of shield, gonna get in there. Falstad is staying across the map to try and soak that level 10, but there is not even any creep wave here coming in anytime soon, so it's gonna take forever for them to get level 10 eventually.
Try and get buildings, try and get anything down there. They need level 10. They can't contest this otherwise. They can't go up against this. With a 4v4 situation up to the top, the Immortal still has full health, a little bit of shield. Missed Stormbolt on towards Baphomet up towards the top. Blumby will move away. A little bit of a whiff on the stun combination there from mYinsanity, but they could get this keep.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Maybe they think the Immortal can get it, and he will get it, looks like, actually. A lot of the ultimates actually were used there a second ago by mYinsanity, so I think pulling back early was very important, because as soon as they hit theirs, PBA could have counter-attacked. And now look, they're even going to grab the camp at the top and then pull back on time if they want to avoid the fight, which I think they might, because Lunara's back at the bottom soaking.
Yeah, Lunara.
mYinsanity are so patient, and this is what we know from them. You know, we talk so many times about how HazuOps, even in his previous career across multiple games, you know, Warcraft 3, Starcraft 2, a world-class player, he was always so patient, sometimes too patient at the same time here. They're literally sitting behind the wall, waiting for level 13. Like, doesn't get any more patient than this.
Yeah, and look how quickly Lunara was able to kill that off. Realizes, though, that PBA is rotating on around. Can't quite easily take that away. They are, likewise, mYinsanity rotating down here, just in case this was taken a little bit slower, but they will not get there in time. And now we have our 7-sided strike, Mighty Gust, Sundering.
Liming's alone at the top now, soaking. So that's, again, PBA not soaking as much as they should be, because they're trying to force the issue. They know that they're behind, they're taking a risk. But mYinsanity will not fall for it.
No, indeed. Lunara is prancing around like she's in the woods. Like, she is the happiest little deer ever. She's not going to take this fight. She doesn't need to. And even if she did, she'd be far away, prancing around away from them anyway, with Thornwood Vine hitting them. So she's a happy, happy person. Oh, that's a lot of stun lock on towards Tyrael again. And Scroll, actually, Eldruin's might forwards there in towards Blumby. The Wolf misses there from Thrall. That's not going to mean that he's going to get any stacks here. We're going to say 7-sided strike come out, really not do too much.
Wow.
Is Strafe being used, actually? I'm not surprised that he's taken Strafe there. That's a great Gust, but it doesn't really lock down anyone. The Sundering and Gust activated at the same time, so they didn't get any value off of them.
Yeah, and Sanctification was used at a weird timing, though, here. But nobody's actually going to die, I think, from this fight, which is a first. So far, we had a very explosive game.
mYinsanity know to just back off, recuperate their losses in health and mana, and just come back to do the hard camp and then move on forwards, maybe.
And look at how smooth this looks. The Immortals are about to spawn. They're just going to grab the hard camp and then head there. And I think probably aim for the fight, considering there's still one talent up here. mYinsanity definitely could get a big advantage if they get a few snipes.
And let's remember, like, Tyrande Rehgar actually isn't the most common of dual supports at all. And mYinsanity is very good with dual support.
Absolutely. PBA is only doing their hard camp. Now they're so late. That's going to be the first half of the Immortal going very easily to mYinsanity there. And there's no level 13 in sight for PBA. So what do they do?
Yeah, the timing of their hard camp wasn't exactly ironed down in comparison to mYinsanity's. mYinsanity's was a little bit late compared to the Immortal spawning, but still, PBA kind of felt they had to kind of rival that.
Still a minute ahead of PBA. They're just going to defend.
Hunter's Mark was used, so that will be wasted for a little bit, whilst PBA did move into position to defend.
Look at that bottom lane pushing in, by the way. There's still the hard camp there for mYinsanity, so that's going to do quite a bit of damage to that wall.
Yep.
And remember, the keep on the other lane is already down.
And they did throw that Eldarin's Might across the wall there, just in case they wanted to actually go forwards with Tyrael. It would have been quite scary, though.
They're just blasting the Immortal from far away with Leeming.
Just Thornwood Vine, you know that the poison's going to chew through it, even if Leeming was there as well. As
PBA is losing patience.
And they feel the need to force the fight there. Scroll's already taking a lot of damage, and that will be Shadowstalk to make sure that they can't even continue to engage. They don't even need to take the engagement. They get the Immortal almost full health, full shields.
And the hard camp at the bottom has already been walking on that wall. One of the towers is already down. I feel like this has to be a keep here, especially with how healthy this Immortal is going to be. So much shield. They're going to get right in there. Might even make it to the core here already.
mYinsanity with a really strong showing at the moment. An attempted bolt, even I should say, from Blumby up towards the top, but Falstad did barrel roll away. And this Immortal now causes a lot of problems. At least they've got level 13 available to them here.
Relentless on the Karazim. We had Sprint actually taken on Tyrande here on 13.
Got to keep yourself a little bit alive here during all of this. That's a lot of damage going on towards Falstad here, and the beam continues to do some a little bit more. Karazim's going to have to be quite careful about keeping the healed up. Also, Scroll on the other side as well, taking quite a lot of damage. He was marked, but he will throw down Sanctification in response to make sure he's not going to get blown up, knowing that they were going to try and focus him. Strafe's being used as well to try and hold them back, but the Immortal is still at full health and still chewing through. Ancestral Healer went down on towards Blumby. He goes forward, catches two with that Stormbolt, and Scroll has to retreat.
We always talked about the palms of Splendor, but his ancestral healings have been on point this game as well. Nobody has died yet from mYinsanity in this entire game.
No, they're going to wreck all. Thrall gets bursted down during all of that. Likewise, Scroll under a lot of pressure. Seven-sided strike comes out, but he has to dash away instantaneously as all the damage was dispersed between 5 members of mYinsanity. A perfect response to that, and that will be GG game number 1. A strong showing, a flawless showing there from mYinsanity in game 1.
Not a 1% Carlisle score for once.
No, not James 1% core Carol for sure. Not in this one. mYinsanity, they went from 100 to 0 as quick as that. That was fast.
10 and 0 in takedowns. A very clean game. And actually, mad props to Lunara because she did some real damage this game, topping both the siege and hero damage. Obviously, you know, she was solo at the top in the start and oftentimes, so getting a lot of experience as well for mYinsanity there. You can tell how hard these guys work, and this is one of the things to me that's so interesting about these guys. They were not at the top from the very start of Heroes of the Storm. They had some of their struggles in their team, then they formed the team together, and now they're doing really well through very, very hard work. And
if I was PBA there, I would be trying to keep my morale as high as possible. After a game like that... I've been trying to get one takedown. Right, I mean... At least to get things started. That is a very, very scary game to start a best-of-3 off for PBA. I mean, obviously they came in and they weren't 100% sure how they were going to match up against mYinsanity, even though mYinsanity have shown really good results in the previous European regional. But that was dominating. Yeah. It was almost a perfect game. I want to go as far to say it was almost a perfect game. They just... you found some mistakes. Apart from missing a few of the stuns here and there. But regardless, we can hear over if the panel thinks it was as good a game for mYinsanity with the boys.